The question I get asked most is, what is my inspiration or what inspires me? That's not true. The question I get most is, James, what the hell are you doing? But after that, the question I get most is about inspiration. So I don't really know what the process of inspiration looks like to other people, but for me, I need structure. And so here's how I aim to create that first thing in the morning. I wake up, obviously, and then for about 20 minutes or half an hour, I watch the news or like political stories. And the news and politics in themselves aren't necessarily inspirational all the time. What they are is normally full of injustice, which annoys me and wakes me up. And then when I'm awake and suitably depressed, I sort of start moving towards comedy. I'm Alan Partridge.
What's this little sink here?
That's a rinser.
Yeah, get rid of it.
At the US office.
My God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Wait.
And obviously the British office.
Okay. Under weaknesses, you've put eczema.
I mean, it doesn't always lead to inspiration, again, just like the news, but now I'm both awake and in a good mood. So then, I dance. Anyway, inspiration. So this book, this notebook, which is aimed at sort of creatives and stuff, because it's got idea generation things within it. I mean, some of them are a little bit whimsical, like incubate your idea is the theme of this page, which is a bit... but on the whole, it's a pretty good book. I got it from a shop, and on the back page is a bit of information about something called random stimulus. There are times when the stimulus for an idea can come from a random and seemingly unrelated source that at first could appear to have little or nothing to do with the problem at hand. It could be an object that you noticed in the street, a phrase that you heard in passing, a situation from a film or a TV program that you saw, an image from a dream, an aspect of human behaviour that you witnessed. In all these cases, an idea can surface as if by chance when you establish a link between some random stimulus and the creative problem itself. And even though I don't understand it completely, I couldn't agree with it more. And I think Steve Jobs said it best. Standard. He said creativity is just connecting things. When you ask creative people how they did something, they feel a little guilty because they didn't really do it. They just saw something. It seemed obvious to them after a while. So what I take from that is this. Creativity is just about connecting things, and to connect things, you need to see things. You need to expose yourself to as many things as possible. Don't expose you, not in that way. And that's pretty much the gist of how I try to get inspired. I basically try and see as much stuff as I possibly can. That could be books, which, I mean, you know what books look like. This actually is a really good book if you're any sort of artist. Show Your Work by Austin Kleon. I think that's how you say his name, very good. And my favourite book of all time, the Banksy book. Newspapers, blogs, YouTube videos, podcasts. Going outside is probably the best one that I know of. Sometimes I'll go for a run. And that's just because a lot of the time, I do my best thinking when I can't really breathe. Whew. Sometimes being the operative word, or I'll just go for a walk with my eyes open. Now in terms of specific recommendations, I sort of listen to and watch pretty much all the main stuff, you know, like Joe Rogan, Tim Ferriss, TED Talks, Hardcore History is a cracking one that I found recently. I love that. And I have kind of a bit of a rule with myself on content that I want at least 80% of it to have absolutely nothing to do with photography, because quite often the best ideas that I have are completely outside the realms of photography. Like a podcast or a talk on like chemistry or Quidditch is much more likely to bring me good ideas I've found in the past than a talk or a podcast on photography. And that rule applies just as much with YouTube. So yes, while I watched, you know, Thomas Heaton and Simon Baxter and Sean Tucker and Kai, I also make sure that most of the stuff that I watch on YouTube and any other website is not about photography. And Peter McKinnon. Obviously I watch Peter McKinnon. If you've never watched any H3H3, do yourself a favour and watch some H3H3. Aside from having a channel that is a mouthful to say, it's very funny. A few weeks ago, someone told me about a guy called Casey Neistat. I'm just kidding. I've been watching him since he was born.
Like I was on a stage tonight with Elton John. That's insane!
But yeah, with all these mediums, I'm just looking for stories and phrases and words and anything that grabs my attention enough to think that there might be an idea in there. And if I do find an idea in a word or something, just leave it and let it develop for a few days or weeks or months. All ideas should be left to develop. No idea comes out fully formed. Ideas are all about iteration, I think. So yeah, don't rush ideas. Oh, before I let you go, I don't know if you've been able to see the carnage that exists behind me in this room throughout the course of this video. Basically, it's all your fault. Right, so calendars. These ones need to be packed. This one has just been bagged, stickered and signed. As of all those, but they've been packed. They're UK, they're empty, they're international. Those are a mixture of both that need to go into those. As do those. Those need to go into those, and then those. This is some of them. So yeah, if you contributed to that mess by buying one of my calendars, thank you very much. If you missed out for whatever reason, you've got two options. Number one is you could just wait till next year. I'll definitely do another calendar next year. Number two is if you look in the description, there's a link to my website where I've got a print sale on at the moment. You can get up to 30% off depending on which size print you buy. So yeah, that might be of interest. Or not. In either case, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope it was useful, even though I was basically just listing podcasts and YouTubers that everyone's already heard of, but you never know. Thanks for watching.